Okay.
Hello, welcome. This is Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to Bridges Live, and also I put this out on the Healthy Mind and all my different podcasts. As you can see, I have a guest with me. We're sharing this new Zoom meeting instead of face-to-face coffee because I like to have coffee with people, and this could be a great coffee time. So I have my water instead. But please, Miss Shannyn, introduce yourself to my kind of quote audience or to the world.
Hi, my name is Shannyn Stokes, and I am a life coach, and I'm also co-owner of Stokes Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. So.
Nice. So you're a hot person to deal with. My children's dad jokes. I get it. That was horrible. And I think I'm funny. So let me ask you a question. And the reason why I ask you, here's the reason why I ask people to come on more than anything. And women, men, and women, because I had a very strong mother. Yeah. And women out there who are wanting to passionately want to teach others about X, Y, and Z is amazing to me because so many I know I've come across women who are very passive in their process or passion. They're very passive in their process and their passion. And working with women for a long time, I find that why did they take so long for them to come to this point where I'm going to do me?
Right.
So what have you understood about that type of
women? Yeah, women are nurturers and caregivers, right?
Right.
So a lot of times it takes them a while, and myself included, to get to that place because, for one, we're taking care of people. We're taking care of the community. We're taking care of our parents. We're taking care of our spouses and our children. So a lot of times we put our lives on the back burner, right?
Yeah. But we know that. And then we also have heard, maybe only in the 20th century, that if you don't take care of yourself, who will?
Exactly.
Men have heard that, but women have heard the saying of that, but they didn't really process it. You think that's what it is, or they never took it back? Because here's how I really view it. I don't think this world moves without a powerful woman.
I agree.
I think personally, men in this higher testosterone, this higher issue of whatever you want to call it, this power over system is caused by more men than women, and so we fall more into wars because women don't step out, I think, and saying, "Hey, this isn't good."
Yeah, I think part of that is conditioning and social construct too. Because women were taught to kind of just blend into the woodwork and be that silent partner, that silent component of the community while they're taking care of everyone. And in recent years, I realized, or I've come to know for myself, that women are starting to say, hey, I have a place in this world too. There are things that I want to do and I can contribute. And so I think that that's why you're seeing this movement of women that are taking the lead in politics. They're taking the lead in education. They're taking the lead on the political platform because they're saying, I have a voice, I have a powerful voice, and I don't have to do this behind the scenes anymore. And so for them to get to that place, then you have to tap into your core belief systems. What type of life have I been living all of these years that are not in alignment with my core belief systems, right?
Yeah.
And so, so women, we have to tap into that, and we really have to get to know our true, authentic selves to be able to even step out in the arena to compete in society.
I love the word you use because I use it also. It's called constructs, and that's a self-building module that you have. And one of those things about constructs is that we don't know who built it, and we're playing inside of it. So my part of my practice in teaching is to get you to understand that you're in a construct, but who built it? Is it someone else or is it you? Either way, you have to know where you are. Goes back into know thyself, right? Now, I've heard my friends who see people who are introduced have a communication with women, and they're like, Paul, you do a lot of women. I'm like, yeah. He goes, it's because I have 7 girls. And 7 girls and 2 boys, 9 kids. And the thing is that I kind of, maybe I do it. I know I subconsciously do it because my mother, if she was alive, she would love this platform of talking to women, because she was in different organizations that work with women, work with the community, and taught them that, like, you can. It doesn't matter what you put after that, but understanding who you are and that you can. My mother was big on that.
Yes. Yes. I find that women are conditioned to just stand in the background. I have a lot of men in my family. And I watched how my grandmother took care of my uncles and took care of my grandfather. But the women were supposed to have this silent strength. You know, you do all the necessary things to keep a household running, but you're silent in that. And so nowadays, I just feel like with the way things are changing and the dynamic and the social comparisons and social media, that we are trying to say, now that we are here, we can take care of our families. We can be a support to our husbands. We can raise strong boys, but we also have a place in society too. And I think that for me, I had to do a lot of soul searching to really tap into who I really was, because I allowed my environment,
to control
society, to control my thoughts, my movements, and deny my core beliefs, right? So once I started tapping into my core beliefs, I realized, hey, I don't have to just wait for society to make room for me. I can make room for myself.
I want, if you haven't said it publicly, and I have, can you blame Black men?
I don't, I am very careful about blaming Black men.
Well, hold on, because you're going to give us a reason of how we were treated and how we were conditioned.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Once, maybe not knowing that we had a responsibility, I get it. But can you then, after a person understands that, can you blame Black men?
I think that Black men have a responsibility in this. I think that because of the way that they were raised and conditioned to be, that what I say, sometimes they kind of like to have Black women under their thumb. We were the one thing in their lives that they could control, right? And so I do believe that Black men have a responsibility to how we move in our communities. But I also believe that, and I don't like to really necessarily take it back this far, but you have to go back to the root of all of this, because we were groomed in slavery. We are the result of that conditioning in our environment and slavery. So I don't like to blame the Black men, because they were conditioned to do this. They were taken from the families. They were separated from us. We had to step up, and we had to take care of our children. We had to take care of children that did not belong to us. And then, just to fast forward, our Black men were coddled by Black women, right? We allowed them to get away with things we should not have. We didn't raise strong Black boys, I believe, because we coddled them. We tried to protect them from society, right? From all the things that, even now, I have 2 adult Black males, and I find myself being a little more lenient with them than I am my daughter. And I have to check that, because we want to protect them from the elements outside. I mean, just like the recent shootings going on, we want to protect them from all of those things that we have a tendency to coddle them. And
my mother never coddled us. And maybe, and after talking with her before her death, and because we were very close family, because she always gave us the story, the information. She never hid anything. No matter how troubled times were or how broke we were, she always let us know what was going on. It wasn't like she did not take the burden all of herself, but she had a lot of it because she was a single mom. So my mother gave me information. She was such a studious woman, very smart. She says, here's what you need to know, here's what you could know, but what are you going to do with that information?
Yes.
So she always put it into a premise that way. Well, what do you know about it? I don't know. Well, first, you got to know. And what are you going to do about it? I don't know. Well, first, you got to know before you act. And then why would you do it? So
Right.
those are the three things. It was a constant. It was, you can't come. I cannot come to my mother about not taking out the trash if I did not have good reasons to take it out, not to take it out.
Right.
You had to come with it. Like, I feel like I gotta take it. So why not feel like it? No, not good enough. Now, if you gave
Right.
me a good reason, so then she started to do all kinds of amazing stuff. Like, if you disagree with what I did in your punishment, you have to then write it in 500 words, and it had to be grammatically
Yes.
correct. And I was like, by the time she keeps sending it back with, this is wrong, that's wrong, I was like, the hell with it.
Yes. Yes. And, that's how I did my boys. I did the essays. I did all of that. Your actions have a purpose. What is your purpose for that?
Yeah.
Why did you make that decision? What was your purpose? Because there's a consequence for your choices.
Right.
And I taught my boys that, but I don't believe that my parents or my grandparents had that same mindset or that same concept, right? Because I believe that they were in survival mode. They were trying to survive the time. And a lot of things were traditions that were passed on. You got to understand that women were treated as the weaker vessel, right? So what did that mean in our community? It meant that we needed to obey. It meant that we needed to be controlled. It meant that we needed to be quiet, right? Until an understanding came, until they gained an understanding that weaker doesn't mean intellectually. It doesn't mean weaker spiritually. It doesn't mean weaker in any other way. Once they came into the understanding of that, then you will find strong men that will say, hey, I can partner with this woman. My husband does not believe in the tradition that I am the leader and you submit to me and you obey me. But he's like, hey, I am here to make sure that you accomplish every goal that you want to accomplish in life. I am here to help you reach your full potential, not to control you. And I believe that now men are doing a better job of that than our fathers and our grandfathers, because they were in survival mode. They didn't know what we do today.
So that's Black men. Culturally, to take out the three main cultures, maybe that Chinese isn't a main culture, but as far as what the United States was built around, now white men, do you think white men also is a cause of the demise of women in general?
Absolutely. And I just so happen to be married to a white man.
Yeah. Okay.
So absolutely, I believe that, but it goes all the way back. We were sexualized. We were dehumanized. Women were treated less than anything in the Black community by white society, specifically by white men. We were sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a voice. We were objects, right? And I believe that the culture, the social hierarchies in our nation has put us in that place, lower than the Black man. And I believe that we've been fighting for centuries to find our place in society. The thing that I appreciate about my husband is he says, I don't know what it means to be a Black person in America, but I've seen it.
Right.
And he said, and as a white man, I am sorry. And he says, and I will help you and anyone else reach their full potential. I am sorry. I repent to your community. If we can get the white community to understand the restraints and the conditions that they put on our humanity, then we will see a change.
We're talking to Shannyn Stokes, she's a life coach, and we're talking about but I don't want people to hear that it's a blame issue. It's about an understanding issue. Yes. And I think once we understand what things are, then we can we will be able to devise a better result for what we are doing. Not a better solution, a better result. Because I don't think solutions and results to me aren't the same. Coming from my scientific mind, when you have a result, that is the end of a process. When you have a better solution, there's still other variables.
Yes.
So I think we're able to have a better result if we do things and understand things a lot better.
Yes.
Now, recently, it's not recently, because there's always a Black man getting shot by someone. When trouble happens, being in a household of mixed races, when trouble happens against a racial issue, does your husband say something to you immediately, and the friends and family circles, and do they say something to you immediately and say, like, apologize to you, or to let them know how disgusted they are? Do you have that in your white community?
I have that with my husband, and
Not,
I have that in my household. My husband not only apologizes to me, but he apologizes to the children. He apologizes to my siblings. He apologizes to my cousins. Not only does he apologize, but he's a voice in his own community. He's been ostracized. A lot of his friends have forsaken him. His family they've forsaken him because of his voice to take the stance that he has for our community.
now, yeah.
Go ahead.
I give him kudos. You don't have to give his name on the air, but I tell you, that's an amazing man, because I have friends white friends, not of course, but throughout all races, and it's very rare I have a white friend who, even though they're not prejudiced, they don't look at it as something against blacks. They just look at something against the life.
Yes.
You know, a life got shot, a life got taken, they look at it as a life, and I agree with the life. But now when you single out the particular life, the rate is so high for you not to mention it. So it has to be mentioned.
I think that's because the white community they do not want to be responsible for the acts of their community. It's easier to deny what's going on, to accept the fact that, hey, this is wrong and this is us and we need to do something about it. And that's really the stance that my husband has taken. He's like, hey, we don't want to be responsible. We don't want to say that we've abused this community, that we've tortured this community. He says we have to be responsible for our acts and we need to repent of them. I have several friends that are like that. When things like this go on, that from the white community, they will immediately say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But then there's those that don't want to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And to those that don't want to have the conversation, I don't have the conversation with them. I have the conversation with those that want to hear what we have to say, and they want to come to the table and see what we can do to work together to bring about a change.
But complacency allows it. So even my white friends, if I ask you as a person of white, and I ask you, what do you think about what just happened? I get a response. But if they don't say anything without triggering a response, they may not ever think about it.
Right. And I think that for those that you try to have the conversation with and they're in denial about it, I think that's, for me, that's time wasted. I want to work with those that are willing to take a stand and to speak out. I don't want you to whisper in my ear, I know that's wrong, but in public you want to be silent.
Right.
You're not my friend.
No. And I agree, because I am a son of an activist. That's what we are. We're activists. My dad was a Black Panther. My mother, I mean, we've just been doing this for a very long time in our process of civil engagement, right? And then you have civil unrest, and then you also will have toxic tribalism. So we have these things that we have totally narrated its issue, but we have not figured out a better result. And we know that the different communities, specifically the Black community, is so separated between economic funds and that. I mean, our dollar doesn't, revolve inside our community. It goes, one in and one out in our community. So we don't keep our own financial dollar, even though we have the most of financial wealth and spending of the most, and yet we don't have nothing to show for it. So during this time of this issue with COVID and stay at home, people are sad.
Yes.
You're getting clients. How are you helping your clients? Because I first want to tell you, how do people reach you on your website and how to get a hold of you so they can book you for some talks?
They can go to Shannyn.Stokes@gmail.com or www.shannynstokes.com. And I think that my concern with my clients, but the world as a whole, is their emotional, their mental state. Because cognitive function is being challenged. Emotions are just all over the place. People are suffering, and they're suffering in silence. A lot of people are, because they're not understanding what's happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I get mostly people saying, I'm sad, but I don't know why. So what I try to do is give them tools to, utilize daily. Like, what are you grateful for? Because
Right.
being grateful, will change your mood. Write down 7 things every day that you're grateful for. I keep hope alive is one of my favorite things. When I was a little girl and I used to hear Jesse Jackson say that, I was like, what does that mean? But I understand that now, because hope is a container for faith. And so to keep hope alive, you have to find things to be grateful for in the midst of this tragic event, because I call it a tragedy because we have so many people dying around us. And we have people that are dealing with survivor's remorse. You know what I'm saying? People are dying, but why am I still here? And so I come across that. And the key to this is unity. This is a time for us to unite more than ever before, because unity is going to keep us emotionally and mentally sound. So I tell them to reach out when you're feeling happy, reach out when you're feeling sad, text messages, Zoom, Marco Polo. I don't care what time of night it is, reach out to someone, because you don't have to endure this alone. And not only that, there's a lot of people that are suicidal, during this time. Reach out to your neighbors, reach out to those friends that you haven't heard from, reach out to the elderly that may be lacking food and supplies and things like that. That also will help your emotional state and your mental state, just by giving back, right? Just by helping someone else.
After the many things I am doing, have done, and will do, the one thing I have on a piece of paper is kind of like a big piece of paper I have, is called the selfish movement. And I look at it because it came to me when I was meditating that I am so concerned about when we come out of this COVID, that people are going to rush the gate like horses to get theirs.
Yes.
And I've mentioned this to someone. They said, no, because because of our distances, we're going to enjoy coming back together and unity. And I'm like, I don't think so. And I don't, not that I don't want so, I don't think so, because people are now, the finances, if not gone, it's going fast. If it was very little, it's been gone.
Yes.
So, and the way people think is that they have to go rush the horse to the trough to refill what they have lost.
Yes.
In that process, not everyone's a good rider. If I stay on the horses, as a metaphor, not everyone can ride a horse as well. So they're going to fall off and they're going to get trampled. And I'm telling you, Shannyn, that bothers me, to think about what this is going to be when we go back into our new normal. Man, I'm telling you.
Yes, I am concerned about that too, because actually that's happening now. I try not to leave my house. And when I do, you would think that people will be more gracious and kind.
Right.
They're very rude. They're very disrespectful. They're very selfish and self-centered. And it's really sad, because you would think the opposite would happen, but it's not. And that's why it's important for, you with your platform, other people with, a platform where they can reach many people. Teach them, give them the tools to learn how to unite, to build relationships, strong relationships, start giving and start being grateful and start being kind, so we can cultivate an atmosphere of unity. We have to do that within our own families, within our own communities. So when the gates are opened, there is going to be a core set of people that can impact our communities.
And move together.
And move together. This is the time for that. This is the perfect time for us to unite and to move together and find. That's why I said that I'm not wasting my time talking to people that don't have that don't want to have the conversation, or honest, authentic conversation. Right. I'm going to talk to those people that want to unite, that want to see change, because we have to come together. Because when the gates are open, like you said, it's going to be a mess. And we need to have people out there that's saying, hey, let's be kind, let's be loving, let's help one another. We're in this together.
Because we all are. We say that now. We can even understand it while we're at home or wherever you are, that we need to pull together. Doing a lot of brain work that I do, I understand where the pleasure centers have, it increases so much dopamine inside the body that people, once they have had that taste of success and they have not had it in this stay at home, and they're not, quote, succeeding in their own mind, which results in the depression. They thought their family was strong. That's a false. They found out that was false. They found that they had close friends. That fell because the friends that you had hasn't contacted you, and you thought they would. And when you reach out to them, they say, "I'll talk to you later," but they never call back. So there's a lot of this regressive depression of your mental success. So the only way to get back to friends that talk to you all the time is to go be where you were, instead of going to be what you are in new.
Right. And do you want to do that?
Right.
Do you want to go back to that?
Some people think that going back to that is where they felt successful. It would be wrong. It wouldn't be healthy, because they're trying to go back to relive something or bring it back forward. When we're going into a new normal, not that things won't transition like from DVDs from records to DVDs, right? We transition pretty well. I'm good. I transitioned from the 8-track. I'm you know, I've been through transitions before. You know, just relax. We'll get the new playlist. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but there are those that don't have the capacity not to go back, right?
Right.
Because it's what's comfortable. To go forward, as well as I do, that means that you have to leave a lot of things behind. And it's uncomfortable to do that. And so that's why I think it's important for people like you are strong in these areas to grab a hold of some people and say, hey, take some time to meditate, right? To get in touch with your authentic self, to challenge those automatic thoughts, your automatic actions, challenge those and make sure they line up with the core of who you are and where you want to go. Make sure that they're lining up with your value system. Get to know you all over again during this time so that you will not go back to that. So you will continue to be face forward and keep moving forward, because also there's a lot that's going on in the atmosphere. The people that move forward and not look back, there's great success. There's healing of the soul. There's so much that's available to people if they just flow with the transition.
Flow with transition means running over someone.
Don't run over.
Yeah.
Just stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah. And because it's enough available for all of us. There's enough peace. There's enough joy. There's enough resources for all of us. Stay in your lane, and lend a helping hand when you can. But also get to know who you really are in this moment so that you won't go back to those things that you were in before, because a lot of things that we were in before this were toxic. They weren't true to our identity, right? Yeah. So we would really want to come out of those things anyway. Some of those relationships that you're wanting to go back to, you shouldn't have been in the first place, right? So you want to come out of those things that are keeping you bound, keeping your thoughts bound, keeping your emotions bound, and you want to liberate yourself into your true, authentic self. And so that's why it's important.
I asked people one question when they have contacted me, and I said, do you know how did you feel after the month of holidays, between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve? What is your February like? And they're like, why are you doing that? I said, just answer me that. What do you think your February and your March is like? They're like, because to me, Thanksgiving and that whole month, everyone's about as joyous they can be, right? A majority of. By March, all those pleasantries, holding the door open for someone, me saying thank you, and you have a great holiday. No. You have a great holiday.
Yes.
It is out the window. By
Right.
March, it's gone.
Yes.
So what would make this so differently is why I came up with that hypothesis. I'm like, I'm kind of a little bit concerned about people running out of this gate and going to get there. It's going to be their new March and be like, well, they didn't keep up. I'm like,
yeah, but you're already seeing that as some of the states open, you're already seeing people that are angry, that are bitter, that are selfish. You're seeing that right now. So it's just important for people to just take a pause and just consider how you want to move forward after this is open. What story do you want people to tell about you?
Right.
What do you want to pass down to your children and your children's children, saying, this is how I came out of this thing? What did you build after that? Because you don't want to leave a legacy of anger and bitterness and selfishness. You want to leave a legacy of love and unity and kindness. And so that is what I tell the people that call me. Hey, let's tap into your true self, your authentic self. Let's maximize your potential, and let's leave a legacy of love and kindness and peace and joy. And yes, success material is okay, but let's do the other work. Let's do the inner work, right?
I love it. Love it. You know, I know when I have these conversations with women like you, men like you, people like you, to me, it's like singing with the choir. And I love it. It's great. Well, and I know I kind of do this, so I showcase as light workers out there. I use that term, light workers, people who are sharing the light. And there are light workers out there, and I understand that if we chemically, emotionally bond together, like Wonder Woman's rope, we can bring out the truth.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe that. And sometimes, you want to get ahead of it because you can see this thing is so vast and it's so big. And sometimes you just want to reach everybody. But I believe in the concept, each one, teach one.
That's right.
Just touch as you go, touch somebody, and that person will touch somebody and that person will touch somebody. And so we got to keep, this thing where it's a realistic goal. It's not so vast, but knowing that there's so many players in this, there's so many light workers, right? So we can do this together. And one of the things I try not to focus on, because I turn off my social media on a regular, I can't handle all of that, is that let's block out the noise. Block out all the things that say we can't unify. Block out all the things that say we won't be successful out of this, and start speaking those things into existence, that we can come out of this strong, we can come out of this powerful, we can come out of this successful, we can come out of this united. We can do this. The Black community can do it. The world can do it. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I do want to touch on with the Black community that I love is that we've always been people of love.
Yes.
And we've always been people of kindness. And I don't want us to lose sight of that. That is who we are, the essence of our community. Yeah. Don't lose sight of who you are as a Black person in this country, because we're always full of love and kindness and generous people. And we need to continue to do that moving forward. We don't want to harbor anger or bitterness, right?
And just because you're making yourself better and you're loving, you're kind for others, doesn't mean that you are the sucker.
That's right.
Yeah, stop thinking that you're the sucker who's going to play you. That's not it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I think if you think you're the sucker, you're still in the slave mentality, thinking you're still chained up to this. Yeah.
Absolutely. It goes back to kind of like an example that you used with the coffee cup. Who told you this was a coffee cup?
Right.
Who told you that's the way you need to operate in society? Just because that happened to you, you can't allow external circumstances to change who you are at the core. You continue to be who you are. Don't let external things identify you. Don't let labels and all of those things tell you who you are. That's the social construct that's telling you that. You be who you know. You do the inner work. Do that work.
Thank you. We're going to end there. Thank you, Ms. Shannyn Stokes, for visiting with me. On the comment section that people are going to watch this, make sure you put any questions and contact Ms. Shannyn Stokes. I'd like to thank you for listening to the Healthy Mind and Bridges Live, because it's going to go out to those platforms. And I'm so glad to touch up with another light worker like yourself. Thank you, Miss Shannyn. And God bless you and your kids and family. I hope you stay safe.
Thank you. God bless you.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.